Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm looking. We may be live. I love the
maybe.
ambiguity of it.
Hey, what's
I
yeah,
don't know
right?
what's
Like,
going on.
there's a significant probability that 18 million people will see us right now, or
Yeah,
not.
as long as we don't share our Zoom stream on fucking
Yeah, right.
on Twitter.
Did you see? Somebody commented. Yeah,
There we
we're
are.
live now. Yeah, we're live now. So Ian Price saw the post I made for Monday about the Gremlins, and he said, seriously, like, if you could have Liz host one, I mean, that's okay. Asking for a friend.
I forgot who Liz was for a minute there, but then
Yep. Yeah, we all know Liz pretty well.
Yeah. Good morning, Ginny. Nice to see you. Ginny Rupert yesterday heroically watched the Pasco County Commission meeting, which is all of them, on Zoom. It's their Zoom chat, which frankly we should have shared that on Twitter.
Right.
But none of them wearing masks. A bunch of them coughing. Deciding to reopen parks. Is essentially where we are here.
Oh.
And it would also appear that that County Commissioner Jack Mariano opened Hudson Beach on Saturday without any kind of approval from the Board of County Commissioners.
I heard about that.
Yeah, because he's the mayor of Hudson, I guess is how that works out. Yeah.
Yep.
Morning, Jareen. Nice to see you. Thanks for being here this morning. It's going to be a kind of a short show today because, as you can see, Corey's on the road, which means he doesn't really have access to a screen to be looking for cool stuff to talk about. And I certainly didn't do any show prep. But yeah, we missed Monday because I overslept and we were having some other technical gremlins and we just kind of pulled the F it switch and F'd it.
Pulled the F it switch. I like it. There's a fuck it lever.
Ginny says the fact that Mike Moore was the voice of reason was scary, and then he balances the force by talking about limiting citizen comments on things. Yes, let's talk about vertical round tables, shall we, Ginny? They were talking about that's not a table, you idiots. That's a porthole. I don't know. Yeah, vertical round table.
The fuck is that?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure the person that said it knows. Yeah.
Just like. Yeah. How very Pasco County, and like, yeah, we can have reasonable leaders, but no, we want Republicans instead because we're fucking stupid.
By the way, what did you do? What did you do?
Brian might lose his shit. What's going on, Brian? What's happening?
My people.
It's one of your people.
It's adorable every time he does that.
Still doing it.
Yeah, I've babysat Brian and Rhodey before. And I mean, if it's within 2 miles, he does that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Call of the Wild. Yeah.
The first time when we were still living in Tucson, the first time that he'd done this at home a bunch of times. The first time we were driving and a fire truck goes by, and it was immediate, like. He'd never seen one before. He's like, oh my God, those big red and white things are my people.
Hey, Jareen says, happy Stitches Out Day, Brian Dog.
Yes, Brian, you're getting well wishings from the fam. He doesn't give a shit, but thank
you. Oh, you're in trouble. If I know this and your mom does it, you're in trouble. Deb says, where are you going, Corey James? She called you by your middle name, so clearly.
Yeah, no. When the middle name comes out, it's getting fucking serious.
That's why I don't have one.
Smart. Well played. We tried to get an appointment to get stitches out in Miami, but I couldn't do it in time, so I'm driving back up to Newport Richie to get that done.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you going right back today, or are you going to stay the night here and truck back?
I'm probably gonna stay the night up at the in-laws hacienda.
Yeah, 9 hours is a bit of a haul. It's
a bit of a slog. Yeah.
All right. What's going on in the world? Anything interesting going on in the world, Corey?
I mean, I've been listening to the news.
Oh, you're listening to the Call of the Wild with Corey and Greg.
Yeah, hold on.
And Brian. He really is adorable.
Poor Brian. He's really going for it.
Yeah. He says, I miss them.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, so.
You all right there, buddy? Yeah, I mean, so what I've heard is there's actually going to be a national testing strategy. They're going to get up to testing between 1 and 6 million people a day. And that's going to be a prerequisite to opening up any of the states. And so things are going to open up, I think, pretty responsibly.
You think?
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
I just saw a post. I shared this post on the So Local page. I'm gonna read it because everything in it made perfect sense to me. Let me find that. See, I was really prepared for a show today. Yeah, totally prepared.
Well, I did tell you we weren't gonna do one, and then I was like, maybe we can do one. Oh.
Yeah, that's exactly how that conversation went. As a matter of fact.
Yeah. Well, a lot of hat.
Where'd it go? Oh, I saw a graphic this morning. CTV News. It's 2 images. It's Trump at a podium. Trump says Canada is doing well. Restrictions at the border could ease soon. Right below it, hard no.
Wow.
Oh my God. Where did it go?
Like there's a lot of fucking cops going on.
Yeah. Somebody, I don't know what's going on. Okay, so this is about Georgia reopening. Okay, Kemp has announced that Georgia's going to start reopening this week, right?
Yeah.
It's not a stupid move on Kemp's part. On the contrary, it's very calculated. Here's the deal: Kemp mandates restaurants reopen, whether I reopen dining rooms or not. I file for business interruption insurance. It does not go through because since I am allowed to operate at full capacity, my landlord can then demand all their rent since I am allowed to operate fully. Furloughed staff that is collecting unemployment insurance have to come back to work, or I have to let them go. Their unemployment insurance then goes on my tab. If things blow up again, they are still on my tab, not on the state's, since they are no longer employed. Guys, this is about screwing the working class and small business owners, not about helping people.
100%.
Yep, and she's a restaurant owner.
Yeah, it's the same kind of thing as Rick Scott and DeSantis fucking over the actual system that handles unemployment just to keep them artificially low because nobody can actually get it.
Right, and we knew the whole time that was going on during Scott's administration. That's exactly why they were doing it. Yeah. You can't complain about the environment if there are no environmental inspectors, or if you're not inspecting to find problems, then you can say the environment's doing fine.
But if you steal a fucking piece of bubble gum, you're going to jail for 6 months.
Yep.
Or fucking 10 years.
Yeah, we privatize jails, and the state can't be held accountable for what happens in the jails.
Yeah, the jails.
Part of
the jails is fucking scary. Like whatever the percentage is of people that are in there for petty drug offenses that should never have been there in the first place. That it has the potential to be a death sentence now, which is not how justice is supposed to work. I mean, call me crazy. Nope. Yeah, man. I've been doing a lot of looking at the markets, working on developing a position in the oil sector. It's obviously going to come back at some point. But in looking at all of that stuff, the market's definitely going to go down again. Like that's just a dead certainty at this point. And talking to Fred, like I have a pretty shitty opinion about where the market is going. And then I talked to Fred, I'm like, so other than, the thing, massive unemployment and the fact that there's inevitably going to be a second wave now because of the asshats that are in charge, I think, the market's going to go down to 16, maybe lower, like the Dow, right? So using that as sort of a result for the rest of the market. And he's like, honestly, dude, you're missing 1929. Because I asked him, like, what am I missing? And
so what about 1929 is relevant?
So 1929 was the start of the Great Depression.
Right. I understand.
But like
I'm dumb, but I'm not that dumb.
But it's important to understand it as the start, right? Like, and it's one of those things where there were so many systemic things wrong with it that when the market finally tipped over, that it caused massive unemployment, and then nobody could get loans, and then right.
Right.
And
Okay.
we're trying to do some things to get in the way of that with all of these stimulus things. But it took 10 years for the economy to recover.
Right.
And Ray Dalio this morning, who's the head of the largest hedge fund on the planet, is saying like minimum 2 to 5 years. So,
if they get everything right, 2 to 5 years.
Yeah.
And this administration economically has not given me any indication that they're
Right.
going to get
Honestly,
everything right.
It comes down to what happens in November. Like, it really does. Like, it comes down to whether Biden wins or not.
Right.
Because if Biden wins, the people that I viscerally disagree with on Wall Street, but who have the power to move the levers that will bring us back to normal, not where we should be at all.
Right.
But to the point where people aren't starving in the streets, are going to be in a position to organize that. Let's just listen to Rachel last night, and AOC was on, and the advocacy that she's throwing up is really, really intense. Like, there is an opportunity for real systemic growth, like what happened after the Great Depression,
the New Deal, right?
Right. So, yeah, I mean, it's. I guess my biggest worry about it is that there's people talking about like what's called a V-shaped recovery, which is like, nope, This is bottom, everything's gonna go right back up. Those people are fucking on drugs.
Yeah, I saw somebody post this morning. They expected a V-shaped recovery in the oil sector by October, and I'm like,
that's fucking. I mean, like, recovery to what? $17 a barrel?
Right.
You know how many people make money in North America at $17 a barrel? No one. So take everyone in the oil industry and just lay them off.
Right.
Right? Like that,
right.
It's crazy. And OPEC is going to fucking love that because they're going to keep making money.
Yeah, the Canadian oil sector completely shut down this week. Like, all the oil fields are done.
And also, like, it and this is like, again, in like, I'm developing a small oil position just because I couldn't not do it, right? Like, oil drops to zero, you're like, okay, it's not gonna stay.
This is the time to buy.
Yeah, exactly. Like that.
So I'm curious about your trip up here. Did you stop for gas and they gave you gas and cash since it dropped to below $0 a barrel? Isn't that how economics are supposed to work?
Yeah, no. And this is the thing, like, the reason why it dropped to $0 a barrel is because that number is based on the futures market, right? And without getting way into the weeds, which is where I've been for the last 48 hours learning about this shit, basically the futures market is, Greg, you're an oil storage place, right? And I'm a producer, like, I'm pulling oil out of the ground. So you'll have these futures contracts where I'm buying this contract basically, and then it gets traded on the open market. And either I have to deliver the oil or I have to buy the contract, right?
Okay.
And now you're full.
Right.
And every other storage facility in the country is also full.
So I can't guarantee you a place to even store your oil if you can sell it.
There's nowhere to go. And legally I have to move it. I can't leave it in a truck. It's going to degrade. It has to go somewhere, right? And so I am then in a position where I have to basically say, okay, well, I'm going to lose $100,000 on this one truck of oil. So it makes sense to me to pay this contract off for $50,000, right? Which drives the gestalt price of oil less than zero.
Jesus.
Like, doing that at scale, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy. And in June, there's nothing suggesting that in June it won't be the same thing.
All right. How long does it take to build oil storage?
Too long.
Yeah. See, that's the only other thing I can think of is the producers actually start building storage tanks near where the oil is being produced.
And one of the things Trump did, and he probably fucking got taken to the cleaners doing it. He actually did when OPEC started their little price war. They topped up the national reserves, right? Usually, like, as a country, we have a national reserve. So, like, if we went to war, if all oil production stopped or whatever, like, we can sort of keep running for a while or whatever, right? So they basically topped up the national reserve. but that meant that there was no room left for it to go even to there. But apparently there was a little bit of room left between them and the Pentagon, so they grabbed a little bit. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, where this has to change is oil producers have to stop producing, and it's actually in their best interest to throttle production because they can't sell it anyway, right?
Yeah.
So then that's going to take 2 months
yeah.
to kind of percolate through the market, I think.
And how many Gulf Coast jobs is that between
All
Texas,
of them.
Louisiana,
Oh,
Mississippi,
Greg,
Alabama?
no, seriously, not like 10, all of them.
Yeah.
It's going to
Yeah.
be all of them.
In
like
every capacity, from production to transport to storage to trucking
the fucking
to
diner.
Yeah.
And
Jareen makes a really good point about this. With the oil revenues dropping, people here, and I believe Jareen's in Oklahoma. Is that correct? Yeah. Are just waiting for them to use it to defund public education further again. Our state revenues are too entangled in oil. And we've been yelling from the rooftops for 5 years now. We need to get off the oil economy. The oil economy is going to end up, bankrupting vast stretches of America. And the first thing they're going to do is cut public services. And the first public service they're going to cut is public schools.
Yeah.
And then we have less critical thinkers. So mission accomplished.
Now, I'm hoping, I was just listening to a bunch of TED Talks because, again, when you spend 2 days looking at the economy and realize how fucksville everybody is, it's very depressing. So TED Talks and the TED Radio Hour are like a refuge for that. And so the last one I was just listening to, they was on teaching for better humans, which is awesome. And they're talking about how doing this education through Zoom and online, kind of it gets into this more self-directed space, might end up being a much better way to educate kids anyway, and could cost way less at the end of the day. So we could hopefully see while education spending's like almost definitely going to get cut, we might actually be able to jujitsu it into better outcomes.
Right. One of the things that worries me about that path, though, is not that I have any real sympathy for developers and real estate people and big building owners, but less people having to show up to a place for work means that those places are going to go empty and those mortgages are going to default.
Yeah.
Less schools open means less commercial services for air conditioning to keep the schools running. Boy, they really are busy down there today.
Yeah, and most of them are ambulances too.
Oh boy.
Which is, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, commercial real estate is something that I wouldn't even touch right now.
Right. Yeah, Ginny says she wishes she had 5,000 extra to buy oil stock right now.
And again, as someone who's starting to develop an oil position, I don't think right now is the bottom.
Wow.
You can't really buy oil unless you're a commodities trader, and I am not. You need like a special account for that.
Right.
So you have to do like ETFs, which are electronically traded funds that sort of take the gestalt. They'll buy up a bunch of these futures contracts, for example.
Right.
And one of the ones that I picked up a decent sized little position in, I started getting warnings from people that are sort of in the oil industry and kind of know it. What do I know, right? I just Googled what are the best ones to get exposure to the market. And they're like, yeah, these aren't based on the price of oil. They're based on the futures contracts. And if, a whole other month of trucks go to try and fill up and there's still no room, those futures contracts don't diminish in value. They drop to zero. So you could lose a fuck ton of money. Now, again, like over enough time, because all the stuff I'm doing, I'm holding for at least a year anyway. But yeah, like over the next 60 to 90 days, the oil industry itself is going to crater, even though they're going to try and keep it propped up. And it might take 2 to 6 months for the Dow to get down to its ultimate bottom. But it's not going to surprise me, Greg, if like you remember like this last Bitcoin crash was like, I think it topped out at 85%.
Right.
And it went from like 2,000 down to 3,000 or 20,000 down to 3,000. it will not surprise me if we see a 6,000 Dow from a 30,000 top.
Incredible. That's
Yeah.
Great Depression. That's worse than the
Oh,
Great
yeah.
Depression.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like unemployment, when it percolates to like, this is first order unemployment where everyone's having to stay home. What happens when the entire market is disrupted and there's nothing anyone can do now and no one's going outside, and 2 months from now there's a secondary wave that's 10 times bigger than this wave all the way across the country?
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah, it's not good. God, I wish there was better news. We were talking before we came on the air, like, we've been able to at least once in a while to find, something to, some handhold to say, well, this is bad, but November's coming, right?
That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, and the I guess the fun part about like the TED Talks and TED Radio Hour stuff for me is that, like, in the long arc of history, this will be a thing we went through, right?
Yes.
And I have to stop myself from thinking about how many people are going to be suffering and in pain in this, because I can't hold that in my brain.
Yeah.
Or in my heart without just fucking giving everything up and just stopping. Like,
yeah. Well, I've been telling younger clients, look, you're going to, 20 years from now, you're going to look back on this and be able to say to your kids and your grandkids, we went through the worst economic upheaval in the 20th century in America. We survived this. And like one of the things when we talk about environmental policy and global warming and, the roof being on fire, one of the things that I say is, we don't change things as individuals, as groups, as a society until there's enough pain to make us change. Pain is a motivator for change. So like the stuff you're watching about innovators in different, kinds of thinking, whether it's in business, whether it's in science, whether it's in, in any field, that's what the TED lectures are good for, is it shows us that there are still people who are working out innovative solutions to things. And somebody's going to come to the fore here. Somebody will pop up with a solution or a set of solutions that work. We just have to have the will to implement them and stand behind them. So
think about it this way, Greg. The like after this now, when climate change bills start coming up, or a UBI bill comes up, or like, the fucking healthcare debate, never mind, right?
Yeah.
And anyone tries to say we don't have enough money for that, they're just going to get laughed to shut the fuck up.
Right.
Because we're in 8 trillion. That's 8,000 billion. That's 8 million billion, or whatever. Fucking, I don't know. It's a number that's so fucking huge nobody understands it. Right. It's ridiculous. But and maybe Google this. Just ask how much fixing global warming would be, because I feel like the last time I looked at those numbers, the cost of not doing anything would be about $100 trillion, and the cost to fix it would be between 5 and 10 trillion globally, which is less than the United States has spent already, just on money they invented out of whole cloth. Because that is something we can do, right? And obviously, like on the after effect, there's going to be PhD studies about whether or not this causes inflation, yada yada yada. But it probably won't cause inflation to an excessively large degree, which is important to understand.
Right.
Because like I still believe there is a limit at which inflation is going to be a problem. We just haven't seen it yet.
Okay, so this is from Forbes. Those fascists are those communist assholes at Forbes. According to a Morgan Stanley report, this is from October of last year, so it's pretty new. Stopping global warming will cost $50 trillion. Top line, while estimates vary on the cost of halting global warming and reducing net carbon emissions to zero, a new report from Morgan Stanley analyst finds that to do so by 2050, the world will need to spend $50 trillion in 5 key areas. Renewables, 14 trillion, electric vehicles, 11 trillion, carbon capture and storage, 2.5 trillion, hydrogen, 20 trillion, and biofuels like ethanol, 2.7 trillion.
Now, I think it's important to understand too that a lot of that is already being spent.
Right. Right.
But yeah, we could do it. Like, it's just, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, we'd save money in other places by spending it on that, right? There would be things we stopped doing to support that, right?
If we were smart like the Chinese and we're, going all in on R&D, in 5 years, the Chinese are going to be exporting all the technology that really should be coming from here.
Yeah. The other thing about that to keep in mind is, like, when you think about the New Deal, what you don't think about is the job creation parts of the New Deal. And the Green New Deal includes, not only UBI, right? That's the people that are, it's too expensive and we're going to spend all this money and the people won't have to work anymore. No, a lot of jobs are going to move from the oil sector to these other these other efforts, seamlessly. Like it's going to be really easy for people working for an energy company to move from oil production to hydrogen storage and production, right? It's not like they have to train an entirely new workforce to do this.
Well, it's meant as a bridge too, so those people aren't starving in the meantime, right?
Right, and that's been the big knock on getting off the oil pipeline is the infrastructure for oil to get to the gas pump at your convenience store is 120 years old. Like that infrastructure is more than a century that we have to replace with some other conduit from the energy production to your car or to your house or to your plastics production facility. I think Corey just might have hung up on us accidentally.
I'm here. I'm trying to get back into the app.
Yeah. All we can see is your thumb. So at least I hope that's your thumb. Okay. Okay. All right. Did anyone else see China's response to Missouri suing them? Yes. Did you see this?
No. Did they just laugh?
I haven't seen the response yet, but the state of Missouri is suing China.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, that'll work.
They don't have standing in any court to do this. So they're going to spend, I don't know, a shit ton of money on lawyer fees to find out that they don't have, there's no venue. And they don't have standing to sue a foreign country like that. So that'll be fun. Did I lose you? Yep. I think we lost Corey. Let's see what's going on here. He just froze up. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up for today. It's weird with Corey on the road, and he's gonna be somewhere parked on Friday. We'll do a better show. My apologies on Monday. My sleep schedule. The one thing that's gotten wonky for me in the COVID story is my sleep schedule is just all fucked up. And I know everybody's dealing with that. So we'll find a way to muddle through. We'll be back on Friday. We'll do a science show. I don't know if we got a guest or what's going on, but we'll be back on Friday at 10 o'clock for another #coffee show. Hopefully Brian will be barking or will be howling at sirens because that's the best part of today's show for sure. We love you guys very much, and we will see you on Friday, 10 o'clock, and probably on Sunday at the Church of Reason. Some great new stuff going on in our Minecraft server. If you've never played Minecraft, this would be a good way to start is with the Minecraft Java edition. That's the edition you need to play in the world that we've created, and we would absolutely love to see you guys join us in there. That'd be fun. And I built a studio, and that's pretty cool. So anyway, that's going to do it for #coffee. I am Greg. That was Corey and Brian and Rhodey. They are on their way up to get Brian's stitches out today. That's the best news we could share with you today is that Brian's doing well. Obviously not, it hasn't hurt his vocal cords at all. And that's gonna finish up. So we love you guys, and we will see you on Friday at 10 o'clock. Be safe, be careful, have fun. Put on your PPE, wash your damn hands, and stay the fuck at home. We love you. Bye.